There we go.
I'm dizzy now. What up to The Vibe is Spoken, your premium Survivor After show that does everything 3 days late at least. I'm Adelaide. That's Cameron. My hair's all fucked up now. But we've reached the end of a season 46. I didn't tell you this beforehand, but I want to hear where it falls in your ranking because I got mine, and it might need some changing. I'm happy. I think it's a good time, good season. Ended good. Thoughts?
Yeah, if you had told me 13 weeks ago, whenever the season started,
13.
that I'd come out of this being like, that was a good season, I wouldn't have believed you. Because my goodness, did we start in not a great place with this season, and we stayed in not a great place for this season, but eventually we got to a slightly better place for this season.
I would say more than slightly better. I think it's a pretty good season.
I would call it good. I don't think that it's bad by any means. I think it is good. I don't think it's great. It's not like a top tier high season.
No.
Which some people on the internet seem to be saying it is. I don't agree, but it's good. It was a good season. It is
I think
perfect.
people just
It is perfectly adequate.
I think people just speak very hyperbolically about, oh, I get to watch this live. Let's go. Like, bro, stop sniffing my shoes, you little fucking freak. His head is fully in my shoe. My work shoes, no less, so they fucking stink. Want to talk about the episode?
I mean, we could do that, or we could just spend the entirety of our Survivor after show yelling at your cat.
Kind of lead up here so people know who to yell at. Nope.
Yeah, we could talk about the finale. I guess that's kind of what we came here to do.
So,
we would have talked about it on Wednesday, but because of the time zone I'm in, Survivor ends at midnight, so didn't really want to. I had to work the next day. Didn't really feel like staying up a full hour later.
This is the freaking question. Look at him, live in your shame. That's what I thought. There he goes. Okay,
Anyways,
so you open the episode. The first thing that I wrote down, which is maybe the start of the Maria truly being a villain arc, is come back from Q getting voted out. And she says, oh, damn, y'all are like actually playing the game. Which is not how you want to talk to your other trimates.
You really undermine everyone when you seem surprised that other people are playing strategically. Like, yeah, Maria, that's the game. This isn't old school where one person was playing strategically and would run a season. This is the new era where everyone's playing strategically for the most part. But it's impossible to run a season because every couple episodes someone gets sent to an island where they have to turn a ship wheel, and they either lose their vote or they gain the ability to kill God himself. And there is no in between.
You've earned the kill God advantage. Oh, that's cool. It also just, it weirds me out because I stand by. I think taking out Q is not like the big game-winning move. Like she's making me feel like, oh wow, I lost. That sucks. Like maybe Q would have helped her out, but he's not gonna throw for her.
Yeah, Q is a useful ally for you to have around, but also like, okay, it's not like Q getting voted out is like, oh my god, Maria, what a idiot loser Maria is. She can't win now. It's just like, hey, Q's gone, and Maria wasn't a part of it. Okay.
Like, even as we saw, if the other option that vote was Charlie, clearly, knowingly, much bigger threat. What?
What? You know.
I don't believe this. How young is Matthew in this picture? He looks so different.
You know, I would estimate that he's like 55, but
Yeah,
I'm not good at knowing things about people very
one of
well.
those numbers might be right.
You know,
I
but
we can
yeah,
get the postseason interviews are going to be interesting. We'll get to that later.
yeah,
Um,
we've learned some things.
and then we get to the challenge, which is very interesting. Interesting to me because I think it is the most complicated challenge Survivor has ever had.
I I would disagree with you if only because like there was the giant maze era of Survivor where it was like go through giant maze, blindfolded, grab bags of puzzle pieces, get to end of maze, untie knots, use pieces to do puzzle. You are still blindfolded. Like
I just the number of steps because you have to crawl under a muddy net, which barely counts. It's like very short. And then they give
it was
you
a
like
pretty
a
good
bucket of
thing.
water at the end, anyways. What's the fucking point? Untie a wooden gatepost, crawl through a rope maze, throw a rope ball to pull down a bridge, untie a bag with a key, um, and then you get to unlock your puzzle pieces, solve the puzzle, and then on the puzzle you need to count the number of puzzle pieces, the holes in the gate, and the number of geckos on the puzzle, and then put that in a combination lock to unlock the rod and hit the gong. That is 13 pieces of a challenge.
Yeah, in terms of number of steps, we're reaching Australian Survivor levels of complication where they're like, we got 12 people on a tribe and they all need to do something at some point in this challenge. Um, but like in terms of what they're doing, I don't think any of the individual steps are terribly complicated. Even when you like add them together, it's just like, oh, there's so many things going on here. Um, but I also am a person who like I love this format of challenge. I love the do a bunch of shit until someone's the first person to do the final thing, which is probably a puzzle. Like I like one where it's like
You
you have the
you are a
physical, you have
survivor.
the skill, you have the puzzle. Like I like the challenges that are like do all three of the types of things. Who can be the best overall at doing the three types of things of physical, athletic, precision thing, and puzzle? And the answer is Kenzie asterisk.
So Sophie Clark was robbed because apparently you're allowed to help people with puzzles now. I saw something where the Jeff of it all was like, it works better now because it's more story based and because it's more like it's driven by the players and not by the competition or whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. You said you were looking to say something.
So yeah, I saw a thing that Jeff said about how that challenge went. And what he said was basically if they had asked, they would have said, "Of course you cannot do that." But they didn't ask and Liz just started running, and so it was allowed to happen. It truly was just a
You,
thing of like, yeah, they did
you
it,
know,
and we didn't say they couldn't. There's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball.
but there
So,
is the precedent of a little thing called the attack zone, where if someone does something wrong, you can tell them to stop.
but they were told in advance that that was wrong. They weren't told in advance that like, oh, you can't do that. They just did it, and they were like, well, I guess they did that. Bye, Maria.
If we did new era game changers, it would be Liz, Q for the Q skirt, and Claire for changing the challenge performance rules in 44.
hate,
Great cast.
I hate everything.
Who's
All of you in the Survivor chat are out here standing Claire, and I don't get it.
and the best part
Julian's
about
changed
it,
the game. He smashed the hourglass and changed his fate.
and the best part about it is the old woman from 47 would be the winner by game changers rules.
You know, it's
But yeah,
I have no good response to this. I just don't like this.
Maria would have won the challenge if Liz didn't throw for content.
It would have been close because she and Kenzie were around the same point
But
when
in the
Liz
sense of,
started.
I think Maria had gotten the plank, and it was like up at the top counting when Kenzie rang the gong. So while
that's
she was
fair.
confused, Liz was running. So I think it'd be like, yes, it'd be close. I think that literally Liz threw so that Maria could lose.
And you know what? Good for Liz. We'll talk more about the cool Liz reveals that we've had postseason when we get to the Liz the part where we talk more about Liz specifically. But no, like I think the challenge was good. I liked the challenge. I think it's a very interesting way for it to end, and like I like that the episode at that point doesn't really make any qualms about the fact that like yeah, Maria's going.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, it could be Ben because he's been lying to you all. He wrote Kenzie's name down on purpose.
My
Why-
only thing is
why
like
do you not
it
target
really seems like
Charlie?
the show doesn't take that seriously. Even like to me, it's just like, hey, Maria's saying things.
Well, it is like, here's the thing. The edit is saying that like Liz is entertaining the idea. Because when Kenzie's talking to her, she's like, I don't know. Ben is like crazy. What? It doesn't. They do at least show enough votes that like we're not shocked that Maria goes. And I think they literally show all like 3 of the 4 Maria votes.
Yeah, it's a cut. It's cut and dried. Like, and like we knew it was happening because they made like even from the beginning of the challenge, they kind of made it clear with Maria being like, yeah, if I don't win this, I'm going home. So, and then she loses it, and you're like, well, I wonder what's gonna happen. And then we get to the vote, and it's pretty straightforward.
And she loves everybody. She has no problems with anyone left in the game. She's very happy to see one of them win.
Yeah,
Well, any of them win.
Yep, we'll never bring this up ever again in this episode of this show. Not once.
But Liz does think, because she says this before the vote. She says people think she's a threat. So she thinks that she could go home.
You know, he's allowed to think that.
Liz, the biggest threat in this game. 'cause she's
Elizabeth
controlled-
Applebee's Wilcox can say whatever she wants because she doesn't need to win $1 million or 1,000,000 hearts because she's won 1,000,000 Applebee's rewards points, probably, if that's a thing.
I am shocked we haven't gotten that commercial yet. Because I know
I
they
mean, the
fucking like,
season
hey,
like
DM.
just ended. These things take time.
Fair. We did only just get the D Valadera's
Yeah.
commercial.
It took 6 months for Dee to tell us that A Quiet Place Day 1 is exactly like Survivor. So it's going to take us about 6 months for Liz Applebee's Wilcox to be like, hey, you ever been to Applebee's?
I
Check
need
this out.
I need the season 47 because you know how in Game Changers how Cochran is like, hey, I'm here to help you strategize. Season 47, it's the Applebee's reward, and Liz shows up. She's like, nah, I'm just here to like get the bourbon burger. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, it's my big thing has always been with the Cochrane Game Changers Reward, completely going on a tangent, is the fact that like of all the people that Cochrane could have had to give advice to, he's got to give advice to Debbie.
It's so good. It's
Who
so
will never
fucking
listen
good.
to him. They've probably had the same job at some point, just statistically speaking, from Debbie's jobs.
It's the most romantic rewards in Survivor history. Jeff and Boston Rob hanging out in the Ford pickup truck. Debbie and Cochran on a yacht.
And those two guys in Africa watching Out of Africa together.
Well, also Ethan and the other guy who I don't remember, taking the goat on a little tour. Very, very sweet.
Oh, when I think it's Ethan and Lex that go and they take the goat, and then they realize that they're supposed to like sell the goat, but they don't speak the language, and then they sell the goat, and they're like, "Oh, the goat's happy," and then you see them walk the goat directly to a butcher shop.
I haven't seen that part. I just know that like it happens.
That's
I know it's Ethan because he has like a confessional about it or something.
sure.
No.
Back on track. Final four.
Yeah.
Or do we want to talk about like final impressions of Maria as like a person on the season or whatever?
Nah, we'll get to it.
Okay.
And it was you'll guide the discussion when we get there. And we get to the final immunity challenge, which I fucking loved. Fantastic final challenge.
I was very excited to see the giant board.
Because the board is brand new, right?
This concept has been done in a different challenge, but this giant version of it is new because this concept I want to say first showed up in Millennials versus Gen X. They did a puzzle thing because the main thing I remember is Adam not really doing his own puzzle and just like helping someone else to make sure that they didn't drop their stuff so that they would win, so that the person he wanted out wouldn't. It's an underrated strategy from Adam that I really, really like. He did it all of the time.
Shout out to Liz Wilcox, who also did it.
For real though, if she was like, it doesn't matter if I win, it just matters if Maria loses. So
because she thinks that she can beat everyone but Maria, which, as we said, we'll get
to that. But yeah, I really like this challenge. Super simple, super easy, straightforward. And like the way it ended up playing out was just something else.
Maybe the most shocking challenge finish since maybe season 43, if not like way prior.
I'm trying to think which challenge finish you're talking about.
I think Gabler winning it for the troops is a very strange.
To me,
this is for my body.
To me, there will never be a greater shocking win in a challenge than the Chaos Cast comeback in Cagayan.
True.
Like that's your singular, that's your capstone. But no, like yeah, it's Liz just kind of struggled throughout, just generally. Charlie was really bad at the timing on the thing and got 2 massive time penalties. Kenzie was mostly okay, but also like threw the ball out into the sand. And I thought like she might lose her ball entirely and like not be able to find it. And I thought that might take her out of the challenge when it happened, but she found it, got back in. And like Ben played it perfectly. Ben had no issues. He did all the things the way you're supposed to do all the things, and he won final immunity. Go Ben.
I am happy that Ben like showed the fuck up. It does seem like it's like he was getting purpled decently well.
Yeah, I think Ben is like Ben is one of those people who like he didn't get a lot of content, but every time he was on screen, I'm just like, I love Ben. He just seems like a super nice guy. I would love to hang out with Ben. Like, what a guy. You feel for him and all the struggles that he's going through on the island. And you're like, hell yeah, keep going. And it's like when he wins that final challenge, especially after all the talk of like, here's all the struggles he's been through on this island with like his mental health, his nightmare, stuff like that. It's like, it's a really nice and lovely, heartwarming moment to see him succeed. I'm proud of Ben.
So I'm going to need your help here.
No.
Lightning took out my Wi-Fi right after Ben won immunity. Okay. And I did not get it back until fire making started.
Okay.
So I missed the whole Flint music editing montage. I missed his reasoning, which I still think is fucking stupid.
So Ben comes back. There is a phenomenal edit moment of Ben on the beach being like, I won it. This is amazing. And then realizing that he has to make the big decision. And it's a great moment, especially because right over his shoulder, you see Charlie moving around in the background. It's a very good shot. But yeah, it mostly comes down to like he has his conversations with people, and basically he decides to put Liz in fire making because she doesn't need the money, as we have been led to believe, as she has told people. And then Charlie and Kenzie are both practicing, getting ready. Liz also establishes that she has some wonky wrist stuff, which makes making fire even harder for her. But she's practicing, and then you get Kenzie and Charlie practicing, and like they're kind of like working together, helping each other, which causes some drama later on when Liz brings it up during fire making. And Ben doesn't really come to like a concrete decision, or at least doesn't tell us the concrete decision on who the second person he's going to put in is. At no point does he consider putting himself in, as is the new era meta to some people. But he the editing is really good. The flint scraping music and everything I think is phenomenal. Just a really good sequence of events. And then we get to fire making.
I don't get, like, it's just weird to me. Like, I understand feeling weird about the Liz stuff. Why would you not fucking send Charlie and Kenzie? Like, take one of the threats out.
I think there's something to be said about how Ben plays the game. And Ben being a very old school and very social only player. Like, Ben was never a big strategic or physical force. He was purely like social, make bonds, make friends guy. And I think Ben's decision very much reflects that, in that like he is there for the opportunity to change his life and wants other people to have that choice as well. And also, you got to get rid of the biggest threat.
Hear me out. Then do the greatest new era strategy and give immunity to Kenzie and take Liz out yourself. Then I think he sticks to his guns. He is really connected with Charlie and Kenzie. Give them both immunity and give himself something to prove that he deserves to be there. Because obviously winning fire making is the most important quality in a winner in the new era.
Winning fire making is the most important quality in one winner and one winner only. Chris Underwood. I mean, that's just true, though. Like, that really is...
Mike Gabler is right there.
Yeah.
Because if Cassidy won fire making, she would have won the season.
But you know what? Jesse Lopez's kid got to be in 2 Mr. Beast videos. So
and a short.
So who's the real winner?
Where he won no money.
It's true. And Jesse even shows up in one of those videos. But anyways, so Liz makes fire against Kenzie, and Kenzie wins pretty handily. It's not necessarily because Kenzie's really great at it, but just Liz is not.
She's blown out her fire each time.
So this is the thing. So for work, I work in recreation. And last week, for like a team building training thing, we did fire making at work. And so we were put into pairs and we were told to make fire and stuff. And so we had a little bit of time to like prepare all of our stuff, get our stuff going. We were given just like a flint striker and everything. It wasn't like flint with a machete. And a thing that I knew got brought up, and I was like, I wonder if you're allowed to do that in Survivor, and if anyone would. Which is the fact that, like, because they have like the coconut husk as like their initial tinder and everything like that, which like doesn't burn amazing, but like if you can get it going, it'll go. There's something that works very, very good as tinder, that is available. Hair, yes. Would a player be allowed to like start ripping out or cutting off some of their own hair to use it as tinder in the fire making challenge? I assume you don't have an answer to this, but I'm very interested to know if that's a thing someone can do.
Because you know what, if Jeff would rather deal with forgiveness than permission, I'll fucking do it, Jeff. Put me on the show. This is my whole identity. I'll cut this shit off when $1 million.
I burned my buff. My buff is probably quite flammable.
No, that shit's soaked in sweat. It's not gonna retain anything.
Man. Only one way to find out.
burn your buff.
Hey, you know what? It happened in some seasons.
In season 44, Jam Jam lost his in the secret scene.
I was talking about the fact that in Blood versus
True.
Water.
Yeah, it was foreshadowing.
Also, yeah, Kenzie burned her hair earlier in the season, and then she won fire making. Full circle mermaid dragon.
I'm curious what this means. I don't understand this.
You know, I think he means like the Cook Islands fire making challenge where they eventually had to bring out matches because boy. But no, yeah, fire making, like, I don't think it was particularly exciting or anything. Like, there's some fire making challenges where you're really like, oh, this is intense and close. This was not one of those. It's also not a fire making challenge where you sit there and be like, whoever wins this decides the fate of the season entirely. Where like Edge of Extinction, you know, watching it that whoever wins that fire making challenge is going to win this entire season. On the flip side, there's a season like 41 where it's Deshawn versus Heather, where like, who cares who wins this? Neither of them has a chance, but it's also a really good fire making challenge because it's back and forth and really close and really intense. This was neither of those things. It was fine, but Liz gets eliminated.
Liz in one of the
openly states, "I would have beat you all," and the side eye from Venus on the jury.
The dead silence from the whole jury. No one is giving her that satisfaction. It's just, oh, that's an opinion.
It really is a magical world where you can just say things and they go on TV.
God, we were so close to reality where Liz could have been roasted for that shit mid FTC.
Here's the thing, is now that we're talking about Liz, talking about the fact that Liz has been eliminated, we got to talk about the big news, which I think I actually love.
Liz is also pregnant.
No. Liz, after this all goes down, reveals on the internet that she is not and has never been a millionaire, never been rich, and that it was a strategy to lower her threat level to get herself to Final Tribal by lying about her wealth, which I think is legitimately a fantastic strategy in theory. Like, if you don't have people making decisions based off of like emotion and stuff like, or like who deserves it most, like Ben, I think more often than not, that strategy works for Liz. Like, yeah, you have Liz coming in, and then, like, if she gets to Final Tribal and gets to make that reveal, like, that's a really interesting thing to see how that plays out. Do I think Liz wins with that reveal? No. But do I think it's a really good moment? Probably. Even to the point where, like, Stephen Fishback put on Twitter, like, he has thought of this move before and was wondering if we'd ever see the day someone would try it. And now we have, just it didn't manage to come full circle, but it's a really interesting move, and I think it's very cool.
Maybe this is me being a little elitist. I'm not super shocked by it because she loved going to Applebee's. Rich people don't do that.
Hey,
people deal with Applebee's.
People love Applebee's. List of rich people who love Applebee's: Liz Wilcox, Meryl Streep's character from the 2020 film The Prom. End of list. Balloons.
Hey, and Art and Tashi from Challengers.
This is true.
I forgot if you'd seen it or not, but it's not like a big spoiler.
I have seen it. Now. Gay tennis. Or as some might call it, tennis.
I let her fuck me with a racket. Hey, yo!
But yeah, Liz gets eliminated. Final impressions on Liz for the most part. I'm entirely neutral.
I started out as like an ironic fan of like, I thought it was sort of funny, campy a little bit. She sort of ends up as like a bit of a Karen. Like, I get a little bit of an ick. How like I feel like she really attacked the people of color or targeted them a little bit, where it's just like, not a huge fan.
Yeah, I don't read too much into that. I just like personally like we talked about it when we had the whole Liz Applebee's episode. Like, cool. I wasn't a fan of that episode. It's a bit much for me. Yeah. If we see Liz back, I'll be like, okay, why? I wouldn't be like, how dare they? But I'd be like, there were so many other people you could pick. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
Final Tribal.
Final Tribal. I started
30 seconds to
filming.
sum up Final Tribal. Go.
I didn't watch it. I had to film that. I was doing that review with John and Aaron and Abby. I was like, oh yeah, the show will be done by 10. And it wasn't. So it was on in the background during the review. But I couldn't hear anything because I was getting very in depth about my opinions and I saw the TV glow.
And you didn't go back to watch it.
I've been trying to prep for like 2 different podcasts. I just don't have time.
Okay. I guess I'm in charge.
What are your
now.
thoughts?
Okay,
What are your thoughts?
Okay. Hi, I'm Cameron, and I just realized I never got to talk about the finale of Deal or No Deal Island on this show yet.
After this.
No. So Final Tribal. It's a Final Tribal of highs and lows. I think. We start with some interesting stuff. You immediately get questions being thrown out. A question being thrown at Kenzie by. I don't remember who asked the first question. It's been a few days. I didn't rewatch it. But the first question immediately you get like Kenzie, Tiffany, and Q disagreeing vocally when Kenzie tries to answer a question, and Q is like, no, and then Kenzie and Tiffany are like, no, yes, Q, 100% this, and it gets very chaotic and very hectic.
And wasn't there a timer thing going on?
Yeah, at one point it's established on one question basis. It's like you have 30 seconds to answer this question. Tiffany will be the timer. And she does it. And I will say, I fully agree with what people have said online, where it really feels like some members of the jury were trying to make Final Tribal about themselves. It really does seem like just just them bringing attention to themselves, making themselves the big personalities, where like Tiffany's like this big 30-second timer cutting people off and not letting them Tiffany is this 30-second timer cutting people off, not letting them talk. Q getting in arguments with people about what did and didn't happen. Hunter, Venus, and Tevin all seem pretty relatively chill. Like some people are pretty chill, some people aren't. Big things is like Kenzie talks a lot about like the social game part of her game and how social and strategic for her were one and the same, and how that allowed her to get through the Yanu tribe as it was falling apart. How it managed to keep her from getting taken out at any point. Charlie talks a lot about how he was able to play the middle, hide behind bigger targets while still making his own moves and convincing people to do that. A big thing came to like, can you set yourself apart with like any game defining moves? And neither of them had like an incredible answer to that question, partially because that, I believe, was the question where they only got 30 seconds to answer. And it's like, hey, it takes a lot more time to explain your game than 30 seconds. So why don't you let people speak?
Also because like they're very hungry and very exhausted.
Yeah.
They don't have that quick recall.
And then what else? Yeah, Ben kind of acknowledges like he was a social guy. He made friendships and that was his strategy. Like he wasn't able to make a lot of bigger strategic moves, but he was able to make his way through the game through his social game. I think like he made about as good an argument as he could for what his game was, but he also like kind of knew that he got lost in the middle, lost in the shuffle, and wasn't able to make to the front. The big thing is Q's question, because Q's question is very impactful here, where Q's question is very simply, what will you do with the $1 million? And Charlie talks about the fact that like he wants to help out his family, wants to invest in himself to go to law school, wants to be able to set up a future for him and his family, stuff like that. Ben talks about the fact that like he's in a band, doesn't make a lot of money, talks about the fact that he wants to give a good amount of money to charity to help save music education in schools across America, which hell yes, Ben, as a person who's 1 degree away from being 1 credit away, not 1 full degree, 1 credit away from being
Technically, yes.
Technically they are the same. From being an arts educator, yes, Ben, support arts in your schools. And then Kenzie talks about the fact that she has been working since she was 15, had like started her own business and wants to be able to like finally like make something for herself, have something for herself. And this question is the one that I highlight because of 2 main things, which is 1, Q has stated he based his vote entirely off of only the answer to that question.
Super as fuck.
Nothing else was taken into account, and he voted for Kenzie. The second is based off of the several numerous accounts of Maria's logic for her vote. That question and that answer from Kenzie seems to be the most important factor in deciding who she voted for. Yeah, otherwise, like no major big moments, no giant bombshells, anything like that. Just a pretty bog standard final tribal, you know. No Todd Puppet Master, no Marianne, I have the extra idol and could keep myself safe, which is top tier FTC moment.
True.
No spoiler alert, not going to name names, but no season 1 of Australian Survivor final tribal in which someone comes in and absolutely bodies someone else into the grave on every single question. But yeah, just like kind of bog standard. And then the votes come out and the votes are deeply confusing. The votes are deeply confusing of where the votes go because you look at how final tribal went and you're like, well, Q is fighting with Kenzie, so Q's not going to vote for Kenzie. Q comes up, and we see that he's voted for Kenzie. Hunter seems to not be like the most appreciative of Charlie's game. Hunter comes up and votes for Charlie, and we're like, "What's going on?" We're like, "Maria's going to vote for Charlie. Maria votes for Kenzie," and and then they report votes, and it ends up being 5-3 for Kenzie. Kenzie wins, with Charlie getting the votes of Liz, Hunter, and Soda. Kenzie gets the other 5, and Ben wins the $1 million hearts that Banu attempted to
get. Ben was he was ready for that Sia award. Nothing. Not even several dollars for Jelinski. Nothing.
I'm sure if we set up a GoFundMe, we could get several dollars to give to Jelinski.
I would literally Venmo him right now. Here you go, champ.
Yeah, and then we have the reunion immediately after. And I have been very critical in the past about the immediately after the show, after the votes are read reunion. I will continue to be critical about it because I think it's rough. I think players have not had the chance to process everything that's happened. Like when you do the live reunion, players have months to think about things, to
and
get
respond to their edits.
Respond to their edit, get used to stuff. In the moment, there's not a lot that they can super do to prepare themselves emotionally. I think that's heavily displayed by when Jeff asks Charlie about Maria's vote, which I think is a incredible moment. And I think his response is phenomenal. Where I think, and the way Charlie has handled that whole situation post-season online, like Charlie is doing a phenomenal job with the position he is in. But his answer saying like
if you got the vote, you deserve the vote. If you won, you deserve to win. It's unfortunate, but I'm sure Maria had her reasons and that he accepts those and that he hopes to understand better in the future. Yeah, I think all in all, just like a really good response. I will be honest in telling you that I remember very little else that happened during that reunion show. I think they talked a lot about how 4 people went out with idols in their pockets in a row. And other than that, like, there's not a whole lot I remember from it. Did you watch the after show? Did you watch the reunion?
No, that was during. It was a really good movie review.
You know what's a really good movie that the people at home should watch? The People's Joker.
True. I will after the episode. I was pitching it to John and Aaron, and they were like, "Yeah, that sounds fucking awesome. Where can I watch it?" And I gave them the link, and they both missed it. They live in the same area. They both missed it by like a fucking week. So James Schoenbrunn, if you had fucking released your movie worldwide,
Nope. Jane Schoenbrunn is. I saw the TV Glow.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. If you released your movie a few weeks earlier, when you did New York and LA, do it nationwide instead. And then I could have fucking reviewed that movie weeks earlier and gotten them to fucking watch it. But no. No, I know People's Joker is here, Drew. Those are my top 2 movies of the year. I know my trans representation.
That's fair.
When are you gonna watch I Saw the TV Glow, you fucking fake ally, cishet bitch?
Hey, just because those things are true, the cishet bitch part, not the fake ally part.
Fake ally,
them,
hater.
Hey, yesterday, I was an ally yesterday when I was on a team in a board game with my non-binary friend and we won. So
by using trans people to your own advantage.
No, by using friendship to my own advantage. And by being a little shit who, in any social deduction deception game, no one ever trusts me, and so I leverage that position to my advantage by just being a chaos gremlin, but forcing people to eventually need my help.
It's just like on Survivor. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's they ignored Survivor 40 several. They ignored Jam. Yeah, they talked about Jelinsky, who like at this point has been canonized by Survivor as the most iconic first boot of all time, I think.
The next Zayn night, at least.
I truly believe that if we are ever to get another Francesca Hoagie first boot gets brought back for an all-star season, Jelinsky now is that person without question. Where like Jelinsky is a first boot who, if they brought back, I would be like, okay, I get it, and I'm not mad about it. I would definitely question it, but I would be like, I get why he is back, and I am willing to accept this. But otherwise, yeah, this reunion show didn't have a whole lot going on. There's no more Sia money, as we've learned post-season, because apparently Sia like gave up on the season halfway through, is what I've heard reported. She just didn't like the first half and didn't keep going.
You know what? Same, sis. Spitting facts.
Yeah, otherwise, we got the preview for Survivor 47.
Which I will say looks okay. It looks better than this season does, because they at least use footage from the season and not the audition videos.
Yeah. I think that I don't know all the names of people yet. I know that one of the people on it is like a semi-well-known podcaster.
Aisha, yeah.
That's not who I was talking about. There's a guy whose name I want to say is John.
John Lovett.
John Lovett.
Not John Lovett.
John Lovett.
But he works for a group called Pod Save America. I don't listen to their
podcast.
podcast.
Oh shit! I didn't know there was that one.
but they have a great show on their network called Liberal Tiers, tiers as in tier list, in which they rank political things. It's a great show. It's so good. They do drafts of political things of like the worst political songs or the craziest Trump moments, things like that. My favorite one is still they did an episode where they drafted George Santos scandals. Just a great show.
The
highly
first round
recommend.
pick has to be that he's actually a drag queen.
I
Like,
don't believe that
that's-
was the first pick. I want to say the first pick was him lying that his mother or grandmother died in 9/11. George Santos, please cast. I've seen people fan casting George Santos for the next season of The Traitors, and I want it so bad.
Put him on Drag Race. Are you kidding? I would bet my whole ass life savings that he eventually is on Dancing with the Stars or the Masked Singer.
I could see it. I could see it. That's really the show where they get random people. Yeah, Jon Favreau quote tweeted the dude. Like it's weird. I'm a big fan of Teeny. Teeny looks very interesting.
If so, I'm so excited for them. But if they beat me to be the first non-binary person on Survivor, I have no pitch now. I just have to be naturally interesting.
Never was.
But like the first out one on Survivor.
That's fair.
The first talking about pronouns.
What else? I was gonna say, there's a dude who's great in the promo, but that's John again, where he's like, I went to Boy Scout camp, I threw up, I had a bad time, and I wanted to go home.
That's you.
What a mood! What a mood, my guy. Yeah, just some interesting looking people. No one that like extremely stands out besides those two for me.
But
there's an older lady
who stormed the Capitol.
Listen, you are. I know you're planning on probably starting like season 1 of Australian Survivor soon, right? Is that a thing that you said at some point?
I have started Titans versus Rebels. I just can't get around to finishing it.
It's so much content, and I don't blame you for that. Like
it is like catching up on Big Brother.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I know Matthew is gonna watch it after Edge of Extinction because I convinced him to do that. But I could see her having a similar trajectory to a woman named Sue. In that, a very fun part of the Australian Survivor community is the advertising for Australian Survivor is bad, not in that it's like, it makes the show look terrible, but like it just hypes up things that don't happen. So in season 1, there's this player named Sue, and for a full week, the like next time on Survivor and the ads that you would see during a week were like, but just wait until you see Sue's big move. And it's been 11 seasons, and we're still waiting. We're still waiting for
Put her in Game Changers. Put her in Game Changers.
And so, like, I could see, and like, is an older woman, all that stuff. So, like, I could see a similar trajectory there, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't have a whole lot else to talk about.
No.
Watch Australian Survivor Titans versus Rebels. It's the best season of Survivor to come out this year. It's better than Survivor 45. Don't at me.
I do want to say where I currently have my where I had 46 on my overall ranking. I don't know if you have.
I have not, like, I don't have an officially tracked list, but I'm just gonna say Survivor 46 is how about you say where you have it and I'll be like,
so I have only seen 37 seasons. I am missing most of the ones I'm missing are in the standard definition era, the SD, and also Nicaragua. Those are the ones I'm missing. It is currently 18 out of 37. It is above 44 and below Philippines.
I would agree with the sentiments of above 44 and below Philippines. I think that I'd put it at the third best season of the new era, probably. I think it's better than 43, 44, and 41, but not as good as 42, 45. I would definitely put it below Philippines. I love Philippines. Yeah, I'd say like if I'm putting this season somewhere, like if I'm putting it on like a tier list, I think there's like a C tier season, but probably like high C, maybe low B. It's good, not amazing, probably like like low teens to high 20s range, somewhere in there. Not a bad season by any means. Nowhere near the worst seasons that we thought it could have been when this season started.
I think my problem is it's like a Survivor starts at an A tier because I love the format, I love the idea. Like even if I say it's like a high B, that doesn't mean that like oh it's a great season. I just love Survivor. Like that's all
yeah,
it is.
like it's really like even a not great season of Survivor, it's still Survivor. Like it's a quote that Survivor YouTuber Peridium once said, Survivor is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's pretty good. Like yeah, it's not the greatest you've ever had, but it's still Survivor. Like, yeah, Survivor Redemption Island, is it boring and a steamroll? A little bit, but it's still Survivor. It's still the
No,
format.
that's bad TV. I other than one scene, sorry. I think there is one fantastic scene and a couple that are okay. Otherwise, it is a D tier.
I
TV
assume your
season.
one fantastic scene from Survivor Redemption Island is the tribal council where Philip is calling everyone racist.
No, it is
And
the volcano.
I mean, fair. That is a great.
I do also love when
Sorry,
someone
no.
buries
The best
Philip Shorts. So he's
the
just
best
walking around with a
scene-
pink jockstrap.
the best scene in Survivor Redemption Island is it's getting the best of me. This game. Or is that Heroes versus Villains or is that Redemption Island? I don't remember. I think it's Redemption Island, but I'm
I
not.
think I thought it was Heroes versus Villains.
Either way, whenever Boston Rob says the game is getting the best of him, best scene in Survivor history. It's like that Heroes versus Villains double idol play, and then Dead Grandma Lie.
Dude, I don't know if you're reading the Course Horse chat. Albert fucking hates Pearl Islands.
Yeah. And he's wrong, and we love him, but he's wrong.
Johnny Fairplay, who I've willingly met 3 times.
Johnny Fairplay, who in you and me's DMs for this show, you are nicknamed Johnny Fairthey, and I am.
It's not for the show. That's just what we call each other.
This is true. This is just in general. But
I stand by.
if
I have to get on the show when they bring back loved ones. Because if you're my loved one, that's fucking TV. It's like, who is this? Oh yeah, this is Thunder Sea. Excuse me.
Here's the thing: is like we can't like go objectively that close to it, but we have to come with something like similar.
No, we definitely could.
Where it's like no, like because like we can't go so on the nose that it's like, oh, this is Thunder Sea, because they'd be like, this is a bit, and they're playing it up for a bit.
This is Lightning Sea.
like no, dude, like one of my best friends, his last name is Snattersy. I'm not gonna spell that for the people on the internet. His last name is Snattersy. And you better believe if he was on the show to see me, I'd be like, this is my guy, and this the nickname that we gave him in high school. That is still his contact nickname in my phone is this is my guy Snatisfaction. And I'd feel like, yes, absolutely.
The only nicknames that I got in high school were Dickhead and Slurs.
Hey, same here. I was bullied
jackass?
by
Oh, my buddy.
you know this. I was bullied by other theater kids.
And yet
Do
you're
you know
straight.
How
How
it
is
is
this?
Yeah, anything else we want to talk about?
I think that's it, and we just come back in fucking
We'll maybe
August or whatever.
we'll maybe do like an episode here or there in the off season where we like pick a random topic where we did the like drafting new era all-stars. It was very different between the last season and this one because it was like a very short layover period.
It's so
And a lot of
so
that layover
difficult.
period was Christmas.
Because if we're waiting until fucking season 50 for All Stars, how big is that cast gonna be? Because that's like
18
at best 2
Yeah,
per
it's-
season.
I have no idea. A Kelly tier list. I stand by. We got to do like I
Every
think a Kelly
Survivor
tier list
John.
would be fun. I think we get a couple people and do like a season tier list. Maybe I'll make like a Survivor Jeopardy game, and we can get some people. I'll reach out to like actual Survivor YouTubers who are popular to see if we can boost the credibility of our channel. I know Peridium did a Big Brother Jeopardy on Eth Animal's channel. We'll see if we'll do a Survivor Jeopardy on ours.
I
Eth
do
Animal
wanna
was
do-
smaller when that happened.
If me and Matthew could just fucking see all the seasons, we could do like a draft and vote on it on the Reddit or whatever.
Ooh, I don't hate that.
I just need to
pick,
watch
One
10
World.
seasons.
Yeah, the Rob has a podcast, Twish. I love.
I
used to watch long form Twish, which long form Twish is great. Fun fact is that the last long form episode of Twish was Omer versus Marianne versus Zach, and I watched that, which was my introduction to Twish, live while sitting in a bar in Toronto, Canada, the night before I went on a game show.
Sitting alone in a bar on Super Bowl Sunday, watching Survivor trivia on my phone and eating an entire pizza alone.
That's just what I do inside.
Yeah.
We done?
I think we're done. I think
Yeah.
that the vibe has spoken.
True.
Head back. That's got nothing else for you.
Head back to camp.
Head back to camp. We'll
All
see
right.
you.
Thank
we
you
see
to our
ya.
loyal fan. We will be back next
Thank you to
season.
Matthew. Matthew, if you want to be on the show, just let us know.
Wait,
You get an invitation.
Open
And
invite.
thank you, at the end of this season, I also want to throw a thank you to one person. I do not remember your name, but
You know,
guy
pretend to
in our
look them
chat
up.
for that one episode who
Who
was
was on so many
definitely on
drugs.
meth. If you're out there, please, I beg of you, there are phone numbers you can call. Help is available.
Call us. I need to hear what was going on that night. Call
Yeah.
Cameron's phone so you can like rack up the international data charges.
My phone number is 911.
See you next time.
What a way to end this show.